Previously, after a tough battle and completing a secret quest from the system, Jin-Woo obtained the title of the Monarch of Shadows. He now has an army of shadow warriors under his command. The scene moved to the apartment. Jin-Woo was fast asleep in his room but was suddenly awakened by the loud ringing of his phone. It was a call from his sister, Gina, who was scolding him for still sleeping at this hour. She asked her brother to look at the clock and reminded him to attend the parent-teacher conference. Jin-Woo was surprised and rushed to get ready, promising to arrive on time. Before going to his sister's school, Jin-Woo stopped by the bank to create a new debit card and update his passbook. The teller was surprised when she saw Jin-Woo's balance of 1.4 billion. However, after learning that Jin-Woo was a hunter, she understood and her service became more friendly. At school, Jinna was surprised to see her brother's appearance because he looked neat and fashionable. Jin-Woo explained that he wanted to dress formally when meeting Jinna's teacher. All the students at school were impressed to see Jin-Woo walking around the school. They even thought he was a model. In the consultation room, Jin-Woo was invited in by a teacher. They started talking about Jinna, who wanted to study health science after graduating. The teacher said Jinna's grades were good and Jin-Woo didn't have to worry about it. The teacher also knew that Jin-Woo was a hunter and wanted to ask for his help. The teacher explained that she had a student named Han Song-hee, Jinna's close friend, who worked as a hunter but was too obsessed and often skipped school to focus on hunting for money. The teacher asked Jin-Woo to persuade her to finish school first. Jin-Woo then remembered that there was also a schoolgirl in his raid team. In the afternoon, Jin-Woo meets Song-hee. Song-hee asks what Jin-Woo is doing here. Jin-Woo says he is Gina's brother and was asked by her teacher to advise her. Song-hee says she doesn't care what her teacher said. She doesn't want to go back to school and will stay a hunter. Then Jin-Woo gives her advice. You're an E rank, right? Normal attacks will not work on monsters. You'll need a weapon imbued with magic. If you do end up purchasing a weapon, it'll wear out quickly and you are forced to purchase another. It's not a profitable business. So do you plan on fighting with your bare fists? You aren't dreaming of becoming a full-fledged hunter just because you made some money from our raid team? Song-hee said, enough with the lectures. You are also an E rank. Jin-Woo realized this girl was just as stubborn as him. In fact, she would probably have a hard time accepting reality until she faced the cold and cruel world herself. So Jin-Woo would take her away to give her some advice on being a great hunter. At the airport, Wang Dong-soo was seen having arrived in Korea. He was immediately greeted by Jinchul. Jinchul said it was natural that the hunters from the monitoring division were here to observe the arrival of the S-ranked hunters, and then he asked how long Dong-soo would stay in Korea. Dong-soo said not to worry, as he wouldn't stay long and would return after finishing his business. Jinchul then directly clarified whether it involved Hunter Jin-Woo and Jin-ho. Dong-soo looked irritated and asked if Jinchul was going to stop him. Jinchul said he was only devoted to his job. Suddenly, Dong-soo grabbed Jinchul's shoulder and said he liked his attitude, offering him to join his guild. In Jinchul's mind, he suspected that Dong-soo and his brother were involved in many murders, but he found it difficult to investigate due to Dong-soo's status as an S-rank hunter and the lack of evidence, considering Dong-soo a scumbag. The scene moved to another location, and at that moment Jin-Woo took Song-hee on a raid. They meet On Sang-min, the chief of the White Tiger Guild's 2nd Division Management Department. On was surprised when he received Jin-Woo's call asking to experience a recruit's training session. He concluded that Jin-Woo was interested in joining the White Tiger Guild. He explains that this area is a place where dungeon gates often appear and 80% of the population has already left for other areas. Suddenly, a hunter tells them to stop chatting because they are not here for a picnic. Jin-Woo asks who he is. On says he is Kim Chul, an A-rank hunter with a tank type. He was acting like that because he had previously opposed him for accepting Jin-Woo's request to join this raid. On explains that this raid is a rank C gate and is led by Kim Chul. There are a total of 14 hunters participating. Sung-hee excitedly asks Jin-Woo to enter the dungeon immediately. In his mind, Jin-Woo thinks that she will soon realize how useless an E-rank hunter is inside a dungeon. As they entered the gate, Jin-Woo felt something was wrong. Suddenly, the gate turned red. From outside, On was shocked and felt a dangerous energy around the gate. He immediately called the guild leader to ask for help. At the White Tiger Guild office, the guild leader was surprised after receiving the call. He said that he would come to check it himself. He is Baek Yeon-ho, an S-rank hunter and also the White Tiger Guild master. Meanwhile, Dong-soo was now in the car with Jin-chul. Jin-chul asked Dong-soo where he wanted to go now. Dong-soo answered, "I want to go to a dungeon. I heard Jin-woo is there. We're going there and don't you ever stop me." Jin-chul couldn't refuse because he knew the risks of dealing with Dong-soo. Yeon-ho had already arrived at the Red Gate. He was shocked to see this rare occurrence. He realized he couldn't get through it because the gate was closed by a dangerous energy. Then he asked who had entered. On replied that there were 12 hunters led by Kim Chul and 2 E-rank hunters named Jin-woo and his member. "I'm targeting Jin-woo to join the guild. Although this is just speculation, I'm aware that Jin-woo has reawakened." However, after hearing that Jin-woo was just an E-rank hunter made Yeon-ho pessimistic, and he only believed in Kim Chul for the current situation. Soon, Dong-soo and Jin-chul arrived, which surprised everyone there. Dong-soo said, "Long time no see, Yeon-ho? So Hunter Sung Jin-Woo joined your guild? What were you thinking when you invited him to join? He's a useless hunter." An upset Yeon-ho transformed his body, and he urged Dong-soo to leave this place. However, Dong-soo did not care about that and he walked closer to the Red Gate. Yeon-ho asked, "What business do you have with Hunter Jin-woo to come to a dungeon entrance?" Dong-soo says, "None of your business, it's just entertainment." Jin-chul, who saw this situation, thought Jin-woo was lucky. Because of this Red Gate, the S-rank hunter can't do anything, but that's also if he can come back alive. In his mind, Yeon-ho wondered who exactly Jin-woo was. Why Dong-soo, who was an S-rank hunter, was looking for him. But now Yeon-ho was more worried about his guild members. Since this is a Red Gate, there's nothing else he can do. Inside there could be a desert over °C, a jungle filled with poisonous vipers and insects, or an extremely cold snow area that could give you severe frostbite. They have a higher chance of dying than returning alive. All the hunters who entered the dungeon were shocked by the current situation. They were now in a snowy forest area with extreme temperatures, and the gate they went through earlier had now disappeared. Suddenly an ambush of 2 ice arrows came towards them. Fortunately, Jin-woo managed to block one arrow aimed at Sung-hee, but one hunter was hit and died instantly. 2 figures were then seen standing on the tree, and they were the ice elves who had attacked earlier. Jin-woo realized that he couldn't sense the presence of ice elves from a distance. The hunter who had never met them called them ice elves, but the hunter who had fought against them called them hyaki because they hunted the hunter mercilessly. Jin-woo realized that the ice elves' eyes were quite sharp. They targeted the 2 weakest hunters in the team, and if this had been 2 months ago, the ice arrow would have been directed at him. Thinking about this made Jin-woo angry, and he would kill them with his own hands. Then the 2 ice elves left in a flash. Kim Chul said that he didn't know how many of them understood the situation. They were now in a Red Gate, and they wouldn't be able to return until they all died or the gate opened again. They were shocked and asked what a Red Gate was. Jin-woo explained that it was a special gate that connected them to another world. Once they stepped foot inside, the gate closed off completely, and nobody else could come and help. It was a place they couldn't escape until the boss was killed or the dungeon opened on its own. In other words, they were stranded. Kim Chul, as a rank A hunter, introduced himself and stated that he would be responsible for their survival. He said that even though he was strong, it would be difficult to control a large number of people. Therefore, he would form a separate team to clear the dungeon with him. Jin-Woo and the other hunters were surprised to hear his words. They then scrambled to join Kim Chul's team, thinking they would survive if they joined him. However, Kim Chul didn't want to bring any hunters below rank C with him, as weak hunters would only be dead weight. Everyone was scrambling to join Kim Chul's team, but then out of nowhere, this B-rank hunter girl named Park Heejin decides to switch sides and join Jin-Woo's team instead. Kim Chul was pretty pissed when he heard about it, but he decided to let her go. Heejin walked up to Jin-Woo saying that Kim Chul didn't notice the arrow coming. Then she turned to Jin-Woo and said, "You're not an E rank, right?" After that, the party split into two teams. Kim Chul's team decided to follow the path, while Jin-Woo's team chose to go into the forest. On the way, Kim Chul laughed at Jin-Woo's team, calling them idiots for entering the forest, which was Ice Bear territory. He said that because of one inexperienced E-rank hunter, all those innocent people were about to die. Soon after, an ice bear appeared before them. Kim Chul told his team to prepare for battle. The ice bear attacked with its claws, but Kim Chul blocked them with his shield, bending the bear's claws. With a single swing of his axe, Kim Chul defeated the bear. He then proceeded to kill several more bears on his own. The other hunters were delighted and said that they could survive if they were with Kim Chul. He was a hunter they could rely on. Jin-Woo's team entered the forest, which was the territory of the ice bears. Heejin told Jin-Woo that they should not have entered the forest and should return immediately because it was too dangerous. Jin-Woo replied that if it was the ice bears' territory, they only had to worry about the ice bears while in the forest. He added that ice bears were more reasonable than ice elves. Jin-Woo then opened his inventory and gave his team members warm clothes. The hunters were surprised to see that Jin-Woo could use spatial magic. Jin-Woo said, "Since I'm the one who brought you here, it's my responsibility to protect you. However, don't ask me anything. The same applies to all of you. Don't ask me any questions and don't demand anything from me." In the middle of their conversation, an ice bear appeared in front of them. Heejin, who was panicking, said that entering the forest was definitely the wrong choice. She said that she would distract the bear and the others should look for an opening to attack. However, Jin-Woo suddenly pulled her back and said, "I'll say it clearly, I'll hunt that monster alone." Heejin insisted on stopping Jin-Woo because it was impossible for him to defeat a high-rank monster alone. Jin-Woo ignored her words and walked forward, changing his title to Wolf Slayer. The ice bear attacked, but Jin-Woo jumped and with his new status, a single punch with his bare hand was enough to kill the bear. The hunters who saw it were shocked. They did not expect the ice bear to be defeated with a single hit. Jin-Woo sat on the bear and said that as he expected, since this monster was on a different level, the experience gained was also different. He also received a level up notification from the system. The bear meat became the hunters' feast. The hunters talked about Jin-Woo's greatness in defeating the ice bear monster, and even Heejin called Jin-Woo the captain. After they finished eating, Jin-Woo went to exercise to complete his daily quest. The hunters who heard it felt strange because Jin-Woo was exercising inside the dungeon. After completing his daily quest, Jin-Woo said, "It's time to hunt." He went to the ice bear den and was immediately confronted by a group of ice bears. Without fear he said, "Come out." His shadow expanded, and from it came shadow warriors one by one. Jin-Woo said to his shadow warriors, "You guys know this is your first mission, right? Go." The battle between the shadow warriors and the ice bears was fierce. However, the presence of the shadow magician who assisted the fire magic from behind overwhelmed the bear army. Jin-Woo was impressed, saying, "The strength of the shadow warriors is beyond my expectations. This unbelievable regeneration is almost comparable to immortality, but it consumes a massive amount of mana." During the battle, the ice bear boss intervened and easily destroyed the shadow warriors until they were unable to regenerate. Jin-Woo smiled and said, "Igris, go." Igris began to fight, and with his fast and agile movements, He slashed at the ice bear. He stabbed the ice bear's hand and then slashed it. His movements and sword skills were terrifying. Jin-Woo was dumbfounded to see this. In his mind, he knew he would have no chance of survival if he had fought Igris using his sword. With his final attack, he slashed the ice bear's head off. Igris carried the bear's head and presented it to Jin-Woo, then knelt like a knight bowing to his king. Jin-Woo walked up to Igris and said, "You've done well." Then he walked over to the corpse of the ice bear and uttered the single word, "Arise." Shadows emerged from the corpses, and a system notification popped up. "You have successfully extracted the shadow." Now, the ice bear army had become Jin-Woo's shadow warriors. In contrast, Kim Chul was in a difficult situation. His axe was broken and his shield was destroyed. He was now facing a yeti. Kim Chul couldn't believe he couldn't fight the monster. All of his party members were dying and screaming for help. To make matters worse, he now had to face the newly arrived ice elves. Kim Chul was helpless. He had no choice but to run away as the elves came with their army. Meanwhile, the hunters outside the gate had been waiting for 3 hours. This meant that the hunters inside the dungeon had been trapped for 3 days. Yonho told On that the worst-case scenario was that they would not survive. Now, they could only hope that Kim Chul could defeat the boss. Your acquaintance hunter Sung Jin-Woo is now unreliable. Dong-Soo got bored and asked, "So Sung Jin-Woo is not a member of the White Tiger Guild? Why is he here?" On replied, "He's my old acquaintance. He asked if he could take part in a C-rank raid, and I reluctantly introduced him here." Yonho and Dong-Soo realized that On was trying to cover up the truth about Jin-Woo. Suddenly, with a quick move, Dong-Soo strangled On and said, "For a long time, I've been talented in finding interesting situations, and I can feel something fishy here. Tell me the truth. What are you hiding?" Yonho tried to stop him, grabbing Dong-Soo's hand. Now, the two S-rank hunters were facing each other. They unleashed their powers, and a powerful aura of energy surrounded the location. They attacked each other simultaneously, and a large explosion occurred. Suddenly, Jinchul entered the fight and managed to stop it, injuring his hands in the process of holding back their powers. Jinchul then spoke about Sung Jin-Woo. "I was the one to first suspect Jin-Woo with reawakening. However, when I tested him with a magic power detector 2 months ago, he was still an E-rank." Dong-Soo replied, "I know. If they set a trap, the culprit must be from Yu Jin Architectures. Alright, I lost my excitement. I'll head to bed." In the dungeon, Kim Chul managed to escape from the Ice Elves' pursuit. He kept walking into the forest with his food supplies already depleted. Along the way, he saw a group of dead ice bears. He concluded that this was all the work of the Ice Elves, and he quickly left for fear that they were nearby. In the forest, the hunters of the Jin-Woo's team were chilling by the campfire. Kim Chul was surprised to see that the low-rank hunters like them were still alive. He was also surprised to see the supplies they were using. Kim Chul shouted and said that he almost died because of a lack of food and equipment. So why did they still have all these supplies? Kim Chul asked who hid all of this. He knew the culprit was among them, so he told them to confess. He drew his sword and started a countdown. With his sword, Kim Chul prepared to slash Heejin, who he thought was the culprit. However, Jin-Woo suddenly appeared and hit Kim Chul from behind, knocking him to the ground. Jin-Woo then said, "Who exactly left their comrades to die? Not to mention you come back with dead weight." Suddenly, Jin-Woo sensed a terrifying energy, and then he said, "How about you guys undo your stealth? Due to your powerful energy, hiding is pointless." Soon after, a troop of ice elves along with their leader named Baruka revealed themselves. Baruka mentioned that there was only one great person amongst this trash. Then Jin-Woo asked, "Are you calling us trash?" He was amazed that Jin-Woo could understand his language. Even Jin-Woo himself just realized he could understand the language of the ice elves. He wondered if this was an effect of the system. Baruka introduced the elf who attacked them earlier. He says you must know him. He wants to fight you. However, before Baruka could finish speaking, The head of the Ice Elves was already severed with a single slash and incredible speed by Jin-Woo. Jin-Woo said, "Anything else to say?" Baruka smiles and says that Jin-Woo is an amusing guy. Jin-Woo ambushes Baruka with his dagger but is successfully parried. He stepped back to keep his distance and realized that the Ice Elves' leader was not an easy opponent. Baruka said that he had an offer and it would not harm Jin-Woo, but before that he wanted to ask him something. He said, "Despite not being a human, why are you among the humans?" Jin-Woo said, "What are you talking about?" He laughed as Jin-Woo didn't realize it. And then he explained, "In our heads, there's a constant voice speaking to us to kill humans, but I cannot hear the voice in your presence." Jin-Woo wondered if the voice was the same as the command from the system. If the voice didn't apply to him, maybe it was because he was a player from the system. Then Baruka said, "There's no need for us to fight. We don't want unnecessary casualties on our end. Hand over the humans behind you and I'll spare your life. How about it?" Jin-Woo was immediately annoyed to hear that, and then he said, "Let me ask you a question as well. Who are you guys? Where did you come from and why are you trying to kill humans?" However, when Baruka answered, his mind suddenly went into a glitch as if there was something that shouldn't be said. Jin-Woo noticed that and wondered what was really going on. Baruka asked if he agreed to their offer, and Jin-Woo firmly refused. Baruka said, "Do you plan on fighting me and my soldiers? Do you think you can withstand our numbers by yourself?" Jin-Woo said, "Numbers? What numbers? Come out." The shadow soldiers then emerged from Jin-Woo's shadow. The hunters who saw this were surprised by the appearance of the shadow soldiers. One hunter even trembled with fear and apologized for blocking the path of the shadow troops. Heejin ordered the other hunters to retreat as they could not get involved in this battle. The two armies fought fiercely. The shadow soldiers were destroyed but they quickly regenerated. Some of the elves had also been defeated and the battle seemed evenly matched. In his mind, Jin-Woo realized that even though he had a numerical advantage, he could not maintain his army for too long. Baruka looked strong and he hesitated to fight him even with Igris. So now he needed one more strong shadow warrior. Jin-Woo saw the sword and threw it near the unconscious Kim Chul. Now Baruka and Jin-Woo faced each other. They introduced themselves and the battle began. Jin-Woo drew his dagger and jumped, launching a single slash that Baruka dodged. He launched a quick attack but it was easily parried. Baruka counterattacked by kicking Jin-Woo with his knee, forcing him back. The shadow magicians backed up the fight by casting fire magic on Baruka. On the other hand, Kim Chul had already regained consciousness, and he was still filled with anger towards Jin-Woo for attacking him earlier. He grabbed a nearby sword and intended to kill him. On the battlefield, the fire attack didn't work on Baruka. From the flames, Baruka emerged and attacked Jin-Woo from the front, while Kim Chul also attacked him with his sword from behind. And now Jin-Woo was in a difficult position with the two enemies attacking him simultaneously. However, Jin-Woo said, "Just as I predicted, Kim Chul, Igris, come out." In an instant, Igris appeared and stabbed Kim Chul with his sword. Amid the battle, Jin-Woo approached Kim Chul's corpse. He said, "Arise." A roar was heard as a large black shadow emerged from Kim Chul's corpse. A giant shadow holding a shield and an axe in its hands appeared. System notifications pop up. You have successfully extracted the shadow. Please choose a name for the soldier. And then Jin-Woo named it Iron. Iron entered the battle, activating his taunting cry skill. Baruka was provoked and attacked Iron first. Iron was strong in defense, but he couldn't match Baruka's speed. Baruka taunted that a weak warrior like him was no match for him. Jin-Woo said, "How about the three of us?" The three of them moved to attack Baruka. Igris swung his sword, but Baruka dodged it. Jin-Woo came from behind and stabbed him. The paralysis and bleed effects were activated, but due to Baruka's high resistance, all effects were cancelled. Baruka said, "You trash are quite persistent." Jin-Woo replied, "You're not in the position to say such a thing. How about you look around?" When Baruka looked around, he saw that all his troops had been defeated. He became even more enraged and lunged at Jin-Woo. Jin-Woo threw his dagger, then activated his skill, Dominator's Touch, to accelerate the speed of his dagger. Baruka parried it, but that caused his dagger to shatter. Iron came from behind and locked him. The Shadow Magicians attacked with their magic fire to produce a huge explosion. However, Baruka was still not defeated. He survived the combined attack. Baruka became enraged and unleashed a torrent of dark magic. He shouted that he would kill everyone. However, the stealth skill was activated. With his invisible form, Jin-Woo aimed for a vital point and stabbed him. Baruka didn't give up. He grabbed Jin-Woo's hand and locked his movements. However, Iron came from behind and struck him with his axe, and Iron's finishing blow with the axe finally defeated him. System notifications popped up. The dungeon boss has been killed. You have leveled up. A gate opened near them, and Jin-Woo led them out of the gate. The hunters were happy to have returned safely. However, before leaving the dungeon, Jin-Woo was seen approaching Baruka's corpse. On the other hand, the White Tiger Guild was waiting outside the gate at 3 a.m., which meant that the hunters had been in the dungeon for a week. Not long after, the red gate in front of them suddenly turned back to normal and saw the shadows of the hunters coming out of the dungeon. Yeonho was surprised and thought that Kim Chul had successfully cleared this dungeon. 3 members of the White Tiger were seen coming out of the gate, followed by Song-hee and Jin-Woo. On was relieved to see that, as he thought Jin-Woo was a potential hunter. Yeonho wondered why only they got out of the dungeon, and he also asked what happened to Kim Chul. Heejin said that only they survived. Upon hearing this, Yeonho was surprised as the survivors were only low-rank hunter. While Jin-Woo was going to take Song-hee home, Yeonho suddenly stopped him by force. However, Jin-Woo brushed off his hand, saying that he was tired, and if there was something to ask, just ask his members. Yeonho gets angry and says he's already lost 9 members, and as guild leader he deserves answers. Jin-Woo isn't afraid. He says that he saved his 3 members, and as a guild master he should thank him properly. Yeonho understands and he apologizes. Afterward, Jin-Woo and Song-hee are seen leaving the scene. Yeonho asking how Jin-Woo could be irritated. Heejin didn't know, but earlier when she was in the dungeon, Jin-Woo shouted something 3 times in front of boss's corpse, and he became like that. On apologizes about it and says maybe he is tired. Moreover, Jin-Woo is not a bad guy. Yeonho says it's not a problem and tells him to bring him into the guild as soon as possible. He will provide complete support. Riding in the car, Jin-Woo pondered why he failed to extract Baruka. Perhaps it was due to the significant level gap, but he felt fortunate to have acquired a new dagger, named Baruka's Dagger. This weapon possesses a magical effect that enhances the user's agility. In the morning at the apartment, Jin-Woo was surprised by Jinho's arrival to pick him up for a dungeon raid. As usual, Jinho came equipped with his super expensive gear. Later on, they picked up Song-hee. She came with a new look, and it seemed like she was now interested in Jin-Woo. In the car, they talked about the previous night's raid. Jinho, who overheard their conversation, didn't understand and thought they had been on a date before. During the dungeon raid, Jin-Woo fought alongside his shadow soldiers. Jinho, seeing the shadow soldiers for the first time, was shocked. Jin-Woo told him that he no longer needed to mine crystals anymore because the shadow soldiers could do everything. Jinho was sad because he felt useless now. The next day, the promise with Jinho to finish the 19th raid was completed, and they both celebrated at the restaurant. Jinho says since he is now qualified to form a guild, so he will talk to his father. Jin-Woo said that he had a place he wanted to go, so he couldn't be contacted for a while. And he thought to himself that since all his affairs had been completed, he intended to return to the Demon Castle to complete the quest of the system. The scene moves to the eastern United States. Inside a rank A dungeon, a hunter named James is visibly terrified. All of his party members have been defeated by a single humanoid monster. Fear grips James as he realizes the monster is also human. He couldn't fathom encountering such a powerful being, especially one whose magical abilities rivaled those of a rank A dungeon. However, the man reassures him, "Don't worry, I didn't kill your comrades. I only knocked them out, but why did you suddenly attack me? I'm not a monster. I'm Korean and I want to go home." The scene moves to South Korea. Jin-Woo prepares to enter the Demon Castle Gate. He bids farewell to his younger sister, informing her of his week-long journey. And now Jin-Woo was in front of the Demon Castle Gate. With the key he got after defeating Cerberus, he decided to step inside. The gate opens, and a notification from the system appears. The quest this time is to hunt 10,000 demons and collect their souls. If he completes this mission, he will get special rewards, which include items of his choosing, plus 20 bonus stats and hidden rewards. Jin-Woo ventures through the dungeon and reaches a field-type dungeon, a fiery urban landscape with crumbling buildings. Soon a group of monsters came to confront him. Jin-Woo was ready to fight, and with quick movements, he attacked the group of demons in his face, continuing to slash the demons relentlessly. In the end, he was able to defeat all the demons with ease. Jin-Woo felt that in this dungeon he used to level up quickly because to increase one level he usually had to clear the C-rank dungeon 9 times, while in this dungeon he only needed 4 hours. He also felt that his rank now might be a little closer to reaching S rank. In addition, he also got an item called an entry permit, which is an item to enter the next floor. This quest consists of 100 floors, each representing a different world. The higher the floor, the stronger the demons become. On each floor, a demon holds an entry permit, which is essential for progressing to the next level. Jin-Woo obtains the entry permit for the second floor and spots a vertical light, indicating the access point. He summons his shadow leader Ice Bear, which he will use as a vehicle to reach the magic circle. However, 3 gigantic demons block his path, and all of a sudden the shadow Ice Bear charges at the obstructing demons with ferocity. Jin-Woo is impressed by his shadow and gives him the name Tank. The scene moves to Washington, United States Bureau of Hunters. The man previously found in the dungeon is seen handcuffed and locked in the interrogation room. He identifies himself as Sung Il-hwan, a hunter from South Korea. However, the association suspects the man is a monster capable of human speech. Since the man can only speak Korean, the association will ask Wang Dongsu for help to interrogate him, considering Dongsu is a hunter from Korea. In the dungeon, Jin-Woo climbed the demon castle quickly as he exterminated the demons on each floor. As time goes by, he gains a lot of experience points after defeating demons. His Dominator's touch skill increases and he has collected 2,000 demon souls. However, if this dungeon really has 100 floors, he thought it was impossible to clear it within a week. Having reached the 50th floor, Jin-Woo encounters the ruler of the lower floors, Avaricious Vulcan. A formidable boss-grade demon, Vulcan leads a strong army and presents a significant challenge. Jin-Woo devised a plan to strike Vulcan while he was off guard, and to defeat the demon army he would deploy his shadow soldiers. The clash was inevitable. The shadow mages unleashed fire magic, decimating many low-level demons. However, the higher-level demons were resilient and began to attacking. Iron countered with his shield, deflecting the demons' attacks, while Igris sliced through them with his sword. Meanwhile, Jin-Woo activated his stealth skill and moved closer to Vulcan, who still hadn't moved from his throne. However, in an instant Vulcan suddenly vanished from his sight, and brutally attacked all the shadow soldiers, even defeating Iron and Igris. Enraged, Jin-Woo jumps into the air and unleashed a powerful punch to Vulcan's face, sending him flying. Jin-Woo was surprised by his strength, realizing he had invested many skill points into strength, making him formidable. However, his punch was not enough to defeat Vulcan. The demon boss rose and activated Skill Wrath, a skill that boosted his stats by 50% and reduced pain. Jin-Woo recognized it as the same skill Cerberus had used before. Vulcan lunged at Jin-Woo with incredible speed. Jin-Woo yelled at Iron to throw him his shield and he quickly caught it, using it to block Vulcan's attack. The impact was immense, shattering the surrounding area, but Jin-Woo managed to withstand the blow with Iron's shield. Vulcan readied his mace for another strike, and at that moment, Jin-Woo spotted an opening. He swiftly leapt into the air to counterattack. However, Vulcan anticipated Jin-Woo's move and swiftly redirected his attack, aiming to strike Jin-Woo in mid-air. Realizing he couldn't dodge the attack while airborne, Jin-Woo thought quickly under pressure. He activated his Dominator's Touch skill, which propelled him backward, narrowly evading the blow. Jin-Woo devised a plan to defeat Vulcan. He needed to halt Vulcan's relentless attacks, creating a situation where the demon boss couldn't possibly dodge his strike. Spotting a nearly collapsing structure, Jin-Woo saw an opportunity. He lured Vulcan towards the building, activating his sprint skill to swiftly ascend the structure. As Vulcan pursued him, Jin-Woo abruptly turned, charging at full speed with his dagger drawn. With a single slash, Jin-Woo managed to defeat the Lord of the Lower Floor, avaricious Vulcan, and as expected from the boss-grade monster, he got an excellent drop item. First, he claimed the Demon Monarch's Earring, an item that enhanced both strength and vitality, and also served as one of 3 pieces in the Demon Monarch's item set. Next, he acquired the World Tree's Fragment, a rare wood originating from the World Tree, prized as an ingredient for crafting the highest quality magical items. Third, he received the Orb of Avarice, an item that boosted magical power. Meanwhile, Jin-Woo's shadow soldiers had triumphed over the entire demon army. As usual, Igris presented the head of the enemy he had slain, like a knight bowing to his king. Iron was not to be outdone. He brought the head of the demon boss that Jin-Woo had defeated earlier, and then boasted his prowess before the other shadows. Eager to test the capabilities of his newfound loot, Jin-Woo bestowed the Orb of Avarice upon a shadow mage and commanded him to unleash a fire spell upon a nearby building. With a single colossal blast of flames, the shadow mage reduced the entire building to rubble. Jin-Woo was awestruck by the orb's potency, convinced that such an item could drive magic-type hunters crazy. The scene moves to Washington, United States Bureau of Hunters. Dong-soo began his interrogation. Il-hwan said that if he was human, even he would do a DNA test to prove it. Dong-soo didn't care and instead threatened him if his fate was in his hands. Il-hwan revealed about the great disaster that would immediately appear in this world. Monster, gate, and dungeon, those are nothing but a prelude to the real war, and the greatest disaster among them has woken up not too long ago, and my goal is to stop the disaster. However, Dong-soo thought it was bullshit. Even if it came true, it would be easy to stop the disaster if all the hunters worked together. However, Il-hwan said that numbers are nothing against his power. Even if the sloppy people gather together, they'll just end up being used. In the process, Dong-soo checked Sung Il-hwan's profile and discovered the fact that Il-hwan was Sung Jin-Woo's father. Dong-soo smirked and thought that this was the second chance God had given him to revenge on Jin-Woo. He slandered Il-hwan by reporting the results of his interrogation to the association that Il-hwan was a monster, and then while unleashing a murderous aura, Dong-soo prepared to execute Il-hwan. The scene moves to the dungeon. After Jin-Woo defeats the demon boss on the 50th floor, he continues to climb the demon castle, reaching the 75th floor. The area resembles a graveyard guarded by hundreds of undead troops. These troops are led by a demon boss named Metis, a necromancer-type demon. Jin-Woo ordered Igris and Iron to open the way for him. He said, "Igris, Iron, open up a path." The war between the undead army and the Shadow Warriors was inevitable. Igris and Iron entered the battlefield leading the Shadow Warriors. They brutally slaughtered all the undead on the battlefield with ease. Meanwhile, Jin-Woo stands before Metis, who is terrified by his sudden appearance. Jin-Woo is surprised that the undead can feel fear. and before Metis can react, he is split in two by Jin-Woo's slash. Finally, the Floor 75 demon boss was defeated. Just like before, Jin-Woo failed to extract the boss's corpse to turn it into his shadow warrior. However, he was still fortunate enough to get good drop items. He got the Demon Monarch's necklace item, which is an item that can increase agility and intelligence, and he also got the spring water of the echoing forest, which is an ingredient to make the holy water of life. Moreover, he had collected 10,000 demon souls, which meant his mission was complete, so he was given the right to choose one of the items in the store. Having carefully considered, Jin-Woo chose the gacha cursed random box, and upon opening he obtained the key to the dungeon. He wondered about the usefulness of the key he was holding, but he decided to think about it later and put the key into his inventory. Jin-Woo realized if this was his limit, he no longer had the energy to continue to the next floor. He decided to exit the dungeon and would return after recovering. Normal quest: Collect Demon Souls Part 1 has been completed. The scene moves to Washington, United States Bureau of Hunters. A raging fire engulfs the building, a stark consequence of the fierce clash between Jin-Woo's father and Dong-soo. Firefighters battle valiantly against the inferno, their efforts seemingly futile amidst the relentless flames. From the smoldering ruins, Dong-soo lies motionless, his body battered and defeated. In South Korea, after leaving the dungeon, Jin-Woo checks on his mom at the hospital. His mom suffers from eternal slumber, which is a disease that occurs when humans are exposed to monoradiation from gates and monsters. But now with the item Holy Water of Life, Jin-Woo has hope to cure his mom, but to get the item he has to collect 3 basic items. He was able to obtain the World Trees fragment after defeating Vulcan from the 50th floor, the Spring Water of the Echoing Forest after defeating Metis from the 75th floor, and now he needs the last item, which probably came from the final boss in the Demon Castle on the top floor. He made up his mind in front of his mom. "Wait for me, Mom. I will soon end this clumsy charade." The following day at the Association Building, Jin-Woo arrived at the Korean Hunter Association for a re-evaluation of his rank. The association staff recognized him, and he called Yonho to inform him that Hunter Sung Jin-Woo was at the association. Yonho understood and he would be there soon. Jin-Woo and the other hunters waited for their turn to re-evaluate their rank, and some of the hunters looked nervous as they waited for their turn. For hunters, their rank is everything, determining their livelihood and even their ability to meet basic needs. This is evident in the case of the man sitting next to Jin-Woo, who is re-evaluating his rank in hopes of providing for himself and his child. Now that it was Jin-Woo's turn to re-evaluate his rank, the association staff wondered why E-ranked hunters always came to re-evaluate their rank and thought it was useless. Then she told Jin-Woo to put his hand on the black crystal that could measure a hunter's magic power. However, during the test the machine suddenly errors. The staff thought that the machine was broken, so she then asked her colleague for help. And when the other officer checked the device, he was very surprised. He concluded that this device was not an error, but was unable to measure the magic power of Hunter Sung Jin-Woo. He realized that Jin-Woo was the 10th Korean hunter whose magic power could not be measured, which means Jin-Woo was an S-rank hunter. The association staff told Jin-Woo that they could not accurately confirm his ranking right now. He asked him to come back in 3 days and they would use a more precise detector to confirm his rank. People were shocked after hearing that the magic power of Jin-Woo was immeasurable. They realized that in front of them now was a 10th S-rank hunter in Korea. They even thought about recruiting him. However, they gave up after seeing a man walk into the association building. He is Choi Jong-un, one of the S-rank hunters of Korea, known as the Ultimate Soldier, and he is the master of the Hunters Guild, one of the major guilds in Korea. Jin-Woo was wondering why Choi was here. He sensed Choi's strong fire energy, which showed that Choi was a hunter with top-tier fire magic. With his incredible power, he could destroy an entire building with a single spell. The moment Choi saw Jin-Woo's aura, even without using a detector, he confirmed that Jin-Woo was an S-rank hunter. Choi introduced himself and invited Jin-Woo to join his guild. However, without hesitation he refused the offer. In his mind, he didn't have time for this. He had to go to the demon castle and create the medicine for his mom as soon as possible. Choi was shocked and couldn't believe he was rejected. And when he realized Jin-Woo had vanished without making a sound, he thought that Jin-Woo was an excellent hunter with assassin type and was determined to recruit him at any cost. Just then, Baekhyun-ho arrived in a hurry. He came to the association to recruit Jin-Woo, but he was too late as Jin-Woo had gone. Choi, noticing Yuno's arrival, smirked and thought to himself that Jin-Woo wasn't someone you could easily snag. Later that evening, Jin-Woo returned to the hospital to see his mom. He was determined to get the medicine to cure her. Leaving his mom's room, he found Jin-chul waiting for him. Jin-chul asked him to spare some time as the Hunter Association's chairman Go Gun-hee wanted to meet him. As they met, Jin-Woo was surprised by the vibe of Mr. Go's energy. He thought to himself that despite being over 80 years old, he had a body that reminded him of a retired wrestler, and moreover he was S-rank hunter. Mr. Go congratulated Jin-Woo on becoming an S-rank hunter, but Jin-Woo said he had to do a re-examination to confirm it. He explained that it was just a trick from the association to meet him, and it was also the way to select talented hunters. Mr. Go got straight to the point. He said, "As you know, this country is currently not being run by the government, but rather by the hunters who protect the citizens from monsters, and the ones above them are the Hunter Association. Since we're not an enterprise, we cannot promise you a lot of money, but we can help by giving you the authority." Jin-Woo asked why the association was offering this to him. Mr. Go tried to explain that the balance of this country is currently barely being held together by those 5 major guilds. If you were to join any of those guilds, the balance would topple and the country would be thrown into chaos. The law and the system of normal government authority aren't powerful enough to keep the hunters in check. That's why the Hunter Association is needed, and that's why I hope you join the association. Jin-Woo thought this was not a bad proposal. Anyone who had the backing of the association would be on the road to success. Mr. Go thought to himself, "This old man doesn't have much time. I need a successor that can inherit my position." However, Jin-Woo suddenly rejected the proposal with his apology. Mr. Go was surprised by this, and he eventually came to the understanding that in the end, it was all about money. However, Jin-Woo kept on saying, "I want to fight. I believe the place I need to be is inside the dungeon." Hearing those words made Mr. Go speechless. A surge of inspiration coursed through him, and he couldn't help but think that if only he were 10 years younger, he would have chosen the same path, because the true place of a true hunter was in the dungeon, far from the meddling hands of business. Returning to his apartment, Jin-Woo accessed the hunter's market to find an item to protect him from the scorching heat during his upcoming solo raid in the demon castle. However, he realized he didn't have enough money and intended to sell an A-rank item he obtained from the system. But the problem was that it would be difficult to sell his item, since he didn't have an official record of entering an A-rank gate, which is where high-level items come from. He then found a recruitment request for an A-rank gate raid and decided to join the raid so that he would have a record of entering an A-rank gate, and he would be able to sell his item easily. The following day at the Hunter Association, Jin-chul shared some information about Jin-Woo with Mr. Go. According to Jin-Woo's hunter record for the past 4 years, he was known as the weakest hunter of all mankind. Jin-chul also revealed that Jin-Woo was frequently injured during raids, but he had to keep going because he had to pay his mother's medical bills and support his younger sister's education, since his father had long been missing. Mr. Go was intrigued by this information, as he had rarely encountered a man like Jin-Woo. Jin-chul further informed him that Jin-Woo was currently participating in a raid, but as a mining team member rather than an attack force. This surprised Mr. Go, who found Jin-Woo as an enigmatic figure. Currently, Jin-Woo has joined the Hunters Guild raid as a miner. This marks his first time participating in an A-rank gate raid, a large-scale and highly organized operation. Each hunter is assigned a specific role. The attack force confronts the monsters, the mining team mines mana crystals, and the hauling team collects monster corpses. The dungeon boss is defeated only after the mining and hauling teams have completed their tasks, as defeating the boss prematurely will close the dungeon. The raid commenced under the command of Guild Master Choi Jongin. As the hunters encountered the monsters, Choi swiftly unleashed flames from his fingertips, unleashing a devastating inferno that incinerated all the monsters. Once the attack force had accomplished their mission, they emerged from the dungeon. As Hunter Cha exited the dungeon, Jin-Woo was captivated by her stunning beauty and her magical power. Simultaneously, Hunter Cha also sensed a powerful presence around her. She then glanced toward the miner team, but strangely enough, the presence abruptly vanished, leading her to believe she might be hallucinating. It was now the turn of the mining and the hauling teams to enter the dungeon and commence their assigned tasks. As usual, whispers and gossips about Jin-Woo's status as an E-rank hunter followed him like a shadow. Jin-Woo remained unfazed and paid them no heed. However, his peaceful demeanor was disrupted when a miner deliberately bumped into his shoulder, urging him to work faster. Jin-Woo responded with a piercing glare that sent shivers down the miner's spine. Jin-Woo started mining mana crystals like a madman, leaving the other miners in disbelief that an E-rank hunter could possess such power and mining speed. Moments later, the mining team leader came to inform Jin-Woo that it was time for his break. Jin-Woo seized this opportunity to head to the boss's room. With lightning speed he sprinted towards the room. Upon reaching the room, he saw the dungeon boss, a colossal creature with powers far surpassing Metis. However, with his newfound power he was confident in defeating it. Just as Jin-Woo was about to strike, a voice suddenly came from behind him. "What are you doing over there? Are you part of the mining team? That's where the boss resides. Please step back." It was Hunter Cha who had approached Jin-Woo from behind. Jin-Woo was a bit surprised as he hadn't noticed Hunter Cha's arrival. He then told her that he was lost and would be leaving soon. As they passed each other, Hunter Cha was taken aback by Jin-Woo's scent. Hunter Cha Haein, known for her heightened sense of smell that often led her to cover her nose around hunters due to unpleasant odors, was unexpectedly drawn to the pleasant fragrance emanating from Jin-Woo. A hint of shyness tinged her cheeks as she checked his ID and instructed him to leave. And finally, the raid was over, and Jin-Woo received his pay from the mining team leader for his efforts. The leader then offered Jin-Woo another mining job the next day, as the Hunters Guild would be raiding a rank gate. Jin-Woo felt this was a great opportunity for him to get more experience, so he accepted the offer. Later that night, in the comfort of her own home, Hunter Cha found herself consumed by curiosity about Jin-Woo. She decided to reach out to an acquaintance to gather information about the enigmatic hunter who had worked with the mining team earlier. However, her contact revealed that Master Choi also inquired about him. This revelation surprised her, intensifying her desire to unravel the mystery surrounding Jin-Woo. The person on the phone explained that despite their extensive efforts to uncover Jin-Woo's past, the Hunter Association had imposed strict restrictions on his personal information, making it virtually impossible to access any meaningful details. Disappointed by the lack of progress, Hunter Cha ended the call. As she lay on her bed, her mind raced with questions about Jin-Woo. Unlike any hunter she had ever encountered, Jin-Woo possessed an alluring fragrance that set him apart from the rest. This inexplicable trait, coupled with the air of mystery surrounding him, kept Hunter Cha wide awake and her mind occupied by Jin-Woo's enigma. The next day, Jin-Woo joined the raid again as a miner. For a moment, he felt the same vibe as when he was with his party team, and it made him feel nostalgic. During a break, the raid leader's son Ki-hoon approached the mining team and asked if they could borrow someone to be their porter. However, the miners refused, explaining that even being a porter was too risky for low-ranked hunters like them. Suddenly, Jin-Woo raised his hand. The miners were surprised, warning Jin-Woo that it was too dangerous for an E-rank hunter like him. But Jin-Woo insisted on going, saying he would be fine. In his mind, Jin-Woo thought that even if he was just carrying supplies, he could observe their ability and it would be a great experience for him. Ki-hoon approached Jin-Woo and thanked him for volunteering to be the porter, then introduced himself as an A-ranked hunter and the raid leader. The raid began with a party of 11 A-rank hunters, 6 B-rank hunters, and 1 E-rank hunter. As they ventured deeper into the dungeon, a horde of wolf monsters suddenly appeared and attacked the hunters. Reacting to the incoming enemies, the hunters quickly formed a battle formation. A tank charged forward to clear the way. Ki-hoon assisted from the side by slashing at attacking monsters, and a mage hunter unleashed fire spells, defeating all the remaining monsters. In the aftermath of the battle, Ki-hoon couldn't shake off a sense of unease. The appearance of wolf monsters in a rank A dungeon was unsettling, as they were typically considered weak creatures found in rank C dungeons. Jin-Woo approached the wolf's lifeless body and noticed a necklace adorned around its neck. He remarked that this was no ordinary wolf and that someone must be breeding them. Ki-hoon hypothesized that a stronger monster might be using the wolves as hunting dogs. Before long, a towering figure emerged from the shadows, a high orc, the master of the wolf monsters. Its imposing presence sent shivers down the spines of the hunters. A spear shot towards Ki-hoon at lightning speed. However, with remarkable reflexes, Ki-hoon deflected the attack using his shield. Unfortunately, the impact caused his shield to crack. The orcs unleashed a brutal assault on the hunters, their overwhelming strength and agility leaving the hunters struggling to defend themselves. Recognizing the hunters' vulnerability, the orcs shrewdly targeted the hunter mages first. Hunter mages unleashed their magical attacks, but their spells proved ineffective against the orcs' thick hide. In desperation, they summoned creatures of equal strength to hunter rank A. The appearance of these summoned beings brought a semblance of balance to the chaotic battle. Amidst the fierce fighting, one hunter fell victim to a savage orc slash, losing his left arm in the process. The mage hunter came to restrain the orc's movement. A hunter healer rushed to his side and cast healing spells. However, before they could finish, the high orc emerged from the shadows, poised to deliver a fatal blow to the healer. But Jin-Woo would not allow such a tragedy to unfold. He activated the stealth skill, and with an invisible form he choked the orc, and in a flash he destroyed the orc's body without a trace. Hunter healer who saw that was surprised and astonished by what was happening in front of her. Unrelenting, Jin-Woo continued his assault, silently moving among the remaining orcs and delivering precise strikes with his dagger. Each shallow cut from his poisoned blade was enough to weaken the orc warriors, leaving them vulnerable to the hunters' counterattacks. The hunters, initially overwhelmed by the orcs' ferocity, found themselves turning the tide of the battle. The sudden shift in momentum left them perplexed, as the orcs they fought were now easily defeated. The hunters were stunned by their unexpected victory, especially considering that they had emerged from the grueling battle without a single casualty. Meanwhile, a hunter mage cast a curious glance towards Jin-Woo. As a spellcaster, she has the ability to see the stealth skill that Jin-Woo used earlier. A sense of unease settled over her, wondering if she should be wary of this enigmatic figure. However, she thought that Jin-Woo must have her reasons for concealing his true abilities. The hunters sensed the danger lurking within the dungeon and turned to Ki-hoon for guidance. They inquired whether they should continue or retreat. Ki-hoon found himself torn between his ambition and the safety of his team. This was his first time leading a raid, and a successful completion would solidify his position as the attack force leader, an opportunity that rarely came knocking twice. Jin-Woo understood Ki-hoon's dilemma. In his mind, if Ki-hoon was a wise leader, he would definitely choose to stop this raid for the well-being of his team. After a moment of contemplation, Ki-hoon made the difficult decision to retreat from the dungeon. A wave of relief washed over the hunters as they welcomed Ki-hoon's prudent judgment, acknowledging their inability to face the overwhelming orc forces. The hunters then walked out of the dungeon. However, they were all shocked as the gate was suddenly enveloped in a high-level barrier. Hunter Mage tried to destroy it, but suddenly, an intimidating surge of magical energy surged forth, causing the hunters who sensed it to become frightened. Hunter Mage worked together as quickly as possible to destroy barrier, but they were suddenly hit by a curse spell that severely injured all of them. Unfortunately, the hunters' misfortune didn't stop there, as now a troop of orcs had appeared from behind and surrounded them completely. One of the orcs then approached Ki-hoon and began to say something. "Hey humans, I am Kargalgan, I wish to meet with you." The hunters were shocked to hear an orc speak the human language. The hunter mage realized that this orc was just a puppet, someone else was speaking through him. The orc declared himself the prideful orcs, the great sorcerer, and the one who had created the barrier that covered the gate. Then he gave the hunters a choice: to die by his men, or follow his men. Under pressure and with no other choice, Ki-hoon decided to follow the orcs. Then he said to Jin-Woo, "We're going to surprise attack the boss when we get there. When we get their attention, you should run for it and call the main attack force when you're outside." Jin-Woo said, "By the time the next attack force arrives, it will be over for you guys. Do you all plan on dying along with the boss?" However, Ki-hoon says, "Our mission is to close the gate. We would rather die in battle than continue to live in regret. We are hunters, that's why people pay us a lot of money." As if aware of her fate, Hunter Healer then entrusted Jin-Woo with a will to be delivered to her family. Then the other hunters told Jin-Woo that if this wasn't his fight, they hoped he would escape from here alive. Jin-Woo said, "What kind of situation is this? I'm going to stay with you guys." Outside the gate, Hunter Cha, who was curious about Jin-Woo, came to the raid scene to look for him. She approached the mining team leader and asked about Jin-Woo's whereabouts. The leader said that Jin-Woo had just entered the dungeon as a porter. Hearing this, Hunter Cha was surprised. An E-rank hunter entered an A-ranked dungeon by volunteering as a porter? However, she suspected that Jin-Woo was hiding something, and to confirm this she decided to enter the dungeon. Since she didn't bring any weapons, she borrowed a weapon from the mining team, and the leader gave her a pickaxe as a weapon. Awkwardly clutching a pickaxe as a makeshift weapon, Hunter Cha considered it a better option than going into battle empty-handed. Deep within the dungeon, the hunters had followed the orcish forces and finally reached the boss chamber. The room resembled a grand palace, teeming with thousands of orcs. Seated on a throne at the far end was the dungeon's boss, Kargalgan, the shaman of the High Orcs, flanked by 4 orcish generals. Ki-hoon, surveying the vast horde of High Orcs, realized that if they were to break free from the dungeon and enter the city, they would wreak havoc. He knew he had to eliminate the dungeon boss before that could happen. The other hunters stood ready, awaiting Ki-hoon's signal to attack. However, Kargalgan removed his mask, unleashing an intimidating surge of energy that sent shivers down the hunters' spines. They felt as if their bodies were being torn apart, filled with primal fear. Overcome with fear, Ki-hoon trembled as he asked why Kargalgan had brought them to his place. With a cruel grin, Kargalgan declared that it was for their amusement. The orcish forces would slaughter the hunters one by one, and the crowd of orcs erupted in cheers. Ki-hoon was speechless at their disregard for human life. The orcs saw them as mere playthings to be discarded at will. With a surge of fury, Ki-hoon let out a roar and signaled for the hunters to charge. He lunged towards Kargalgan, who remained seated on his throne. However, the other hunters froze in place, paralyzed by fear. Ki-hoon couldn't retreat. He leapt forward, striking Kargalgan with his sword. However, With a flick of his wrist, Kargalgan activated his magic, the Hymn of Protection. A formidable barrier erupted, deflecting Ki-hoon's attack with a resounding clang and sending him flying backward. Then, Kargalgan unleashed his mastery of gravity magic, lifting Ki-hoon into the air and then slamming him into the ground, shattering the ground around him. Ki-hoon was repeatedly slammed to the ground with cruelty, and the hunters who witnessed the scene could only cry and watch helplessly. However, suddenly a mysterious movement stopped the torture, and it was Jin-Woo who managed to save him. And then he said to Ki-hoon, "This dungeon is the Hunters Guild property. I can't just interfere, but this attack force is about to be wiped out. Let me ask you just one thing. Can I kill all the monsters present in this room?" Simultaneously, Kargalgan commanded one of his generals to assault Jin-Woo. The orc swiftly maneuvered and ready to strike Jin-Woo with his axe. However, Jin-Woo calmly activated his skill, Dominator's Touch. The orc got a taste of zero gravity courtesy of Jin-Woo's skill. Unfortunately, his free flight ended abruptly with him becoming a ceiling decoration. With the distraction eliminated, Jin-Woo turned back to Ki-hoon and inquired once more. "All the monsters here, can I kill all of them?" With a face bearing the marks of a brutal beating, Ki-hoon pleaded, Please help us." Meanwhile, from his throne, Kargalgan said, "You have quite an amazing talent for a mere human, but how can you fight against all of us?" However, Jin-Woo responded with a smile and said, "I have never felt such powerful energy before. But this is a terrible matchup for you. Come forth, my shadow." The shadow warrior emerged from Jin-Woo's shadows, and the other hunters watched in astonishment as more creatures materialized from the darkness. With his army of shadow warriors at his side, Jin-Woo stands poised for battle against the high orc forces. Meanwhile, outside the gate, a surveillance team from the Hunter Association had arrived. Chief Inspector Woo Jin-chul approached the mining team leader and inquired about Jin-Woo's whereabouts. The leader explained that Jin-Woo had entered the dungeon as a porter and informed him that Hunter Cha was also looking for him and had entered the dungeon. Jin-chul was wondering what Jin-Woo was up to, and now Hunter Cha was also curious about him. Jin-chul and his team began to move towards the dungeon. However, as he approached the gate, he suddenly felt a surge of powerful magic energy that shattered his glasses into pieces. The surveillance team immediately remeasured the gate's magic power, and the results shocked them as the magic power of this gate was equivalent to an S-ranked dungeon. Jin-chul realized that the hunters were in danger, so he and his team immediately entered to save them. Inside the dungeon, Hunter Cha was stunned by the sight of countless orc corpses. She couldn't believe Ki-hoon and his team had done this. Suddenly, she felt a terrifying surge of magic energy. She knew that if this energy was coming from the dungeon boss, none of Ki-hoon's team would survive. Clutching her pickaxe, Hunter Cha prepared to head toward the dungeon boss room. We return to the boss's room. Jin-Woo and his shadow warriors stand ready for battle facing off against the orc forces. Jin-Woo activates his skill, Domain of the Monarch, which grants a 50% stat boost to all of his shadow warriors. The hunters gape in disbelief. As an E-rank hunter, Jin-Woo summons a massive number of creatures, while they as a rank hunters can only summon 2 creatures at most. Kargalgan gave the order to his troops to begin their attack. Iron activated his taunting cry skill to provoke the orcs, and as they lunged at him, he swung his axe with deadly precision, cutting them down one by one. Igris, with his sword in hand, moved with lightning speed, slicing through the orcs that swarmed around him. Jin-Woo unleashed a flurry of slashes, his movements so rapid that the orcs encircling him were no match for his skill. The hunters watched in awe as Jin-Woo fought, wondering why he had hidden his abilities and worked as a porter instead. In the midst of the battle, Jin-Woo realized that his mana was depleting rapidly as he regenerated his shadow warriors. He knew he had to end the fight quickly. However, Kargalgan cast his spell, incinerating the shadow warriors and leaving Jin-Woo stunned. Kargalgan taunted, "Your warriors are useless. Even if they can regenerate, your mana will run dry before you can slaughter all my soldiers." Jin-Woo leapt into the air, declaring that he would bring Kargalgan down before that happened. He lunged at Kargalgan with his dagger, but Kargalgan's magic barrier effortlessly deflected the attack, sending him flying backward. Kargalgan cast a spell, the Hymn of the Blessing Fire, a devastating spell that unleashed a barrage of explosions, annihilating the remaining shadow warriors on the battlefield. Jin-Woo reluctantly admitted to himself that Kargalgan was far more powerful than Vulcan and Metis. He retrieved a potion from his inventory to replenish his mana. Determined to end this battle once and for all, he uttered one word: "Arise." Jin-Woo extracted the corpses of high orc monsters, transforming them into his new shadow warriors. And then he said, "Are you shocked to see your soldiers become my shadows? Prepare yourself, as you will become my warrior soon." Kargalgan was taken aback by Jin-Woo's abilities. He recognized it as the ability of a monarch and wondered why a monarch would side with humans. Suddenly, an order to hunt down the humans flashed through his mind. He was puzzled as to why he should kill all humans, as there was no reason for the monsters to obey such a command. Nevertheless, Kargalgan brushed aside his doubts and issued a command to his orc generals: "Go cut them into pieces and offer their bloodied corpses to me." Jin-Woo smirked and replied, "This will be an exciting clash between generals. Let's see who comes out on top." One of the orc generals lunged at Iron with his sword, but Iron managed to parry the blow with his axe. The fight seemed evenly matched, but then Iron slammed his helmet against the orc general's head, knocking him dizzy. Seizing the opportunity, Iron delivered the final blow with his axe, sending the orc general crashing to the ground. Meanwhile, two orc generals charged at Ygritte simultaneously. Ygritte parried one orc general's sword swipe with his sword, then swiftly dodged the other orc's blow by leaping into the air. Ygritte whipped out his dagger and plunged it right into the orc's head, killing him instantly. The other orc lunged, but Ygritte managed to block the attack with his sword. He then swung his blade, sending the orc flying through the air. On the other side, Iron prepared to deliver the final blow to the orc who had been knocked towards him. And finally, all the orc generals were defeated. Jin-Woo chuckled, "Looks like my generals are far superior." Kargalgan's eyes widened in disbelief, unable to comprehend the scene unfolding before him. One hunter roared, "We can't just watch, let's join him." Suddenly, Kargalgan declared, "The audience is not to interfere with the show." He unleashed a torrent of curses, sending waves of unbearable pain through the hunters, silencing their defiance. He then unleashed a barrage of dark magic at Jin-Woo: Hymn of Slumber, Hymn of Lethargy, Hymn of Blindness. However, his spells fizzled uselessly. The system notification popped up: "Status effect has been removed due to the effect of immunity." Shock contorted Kargalgan's face. His curses were useless. Jin-Woo spoke, "Don't you remember what I told you? I'm a bad matchup for you." Then he handed the Orb of Avarice to the Shadow Mage. With a surge of power, the Shadow Mage conjured a colossal fireball and hurled it at Kargalgan, shattering his magic barrier. Meanwhile, Hunter Cha had arrived at the scene, her eyes widening in disbelief at the sight of the battle between the Shadow Warriors and the High Orc army unfolding before her. She wondered how Jin-Woo could summon so many creatures, when even the best hunter mages could only control 2 or 3 at most. Approaching the injured hunters, she inquired about their condition and urged them to retreat immediately, warning them of the danger of the ensuing battle. Meanwhile, Kargalgan was so furious after his magic barrier was destroyed. He unleashed his most potent spells: the Hymn of Rage, the Hymn of Strengthening, the Hymn of Giants, the Hymn of Combustion, causing his body to morph into a towering behemoth. With a haughty sneer, he declared his intention to crush everything beneath his feet like mere insects. Jin-Woo's response was a look of pity. He said, "I have bad memories with giant enemies. You're touching my sore spots." Kargalgan conjured a colossal fireball and hurled it towards Jin-Woo, the impact creating a fiery inferno that engulfed the surrounding area. However, Jin-Woo nimbly leapt out of the way, delivering a swift and powerful blow directly to Kargalgan's eye. Meanwhile, Jinchul had also arrived at the scene, his eyes widening in astonishment at the fierce battle unfolding before him. Both he and Hunter Cha were rendered speechless by the spectacle. Hunter Cha turned to Jinchul, inquiring about Jinwoo's true identity. Jinchul admitted that he only knew bits and pieces about him. As the battle raged on, Jinwoo unleashed a relentless barrage of dagger strikes upon Kargalgan, delivering a final blow that sent the dungeon boss crashing to the ground. Now standing over Kargalgan, Jinwoo was flanked by the 3 Shadow Orc generals. With a cold voice he declared, "The moment a magician loses his guard, they have 0 chance of winning." Kargalgan, refusing to accept his defeat, roared in defiance. However, the 3 Shadow Orc generals swiftly retaliated, delivering the final blow that ended his life. A system notification popped up. "Dungeon boss has been slain. You leveled up." As usual, a sweet loot drop materialized right after he vanquished the dungeon boss. Jinwoo figured that since this dungeon was the property of the Hunters Guild, he wouldn't be greedy and decided to only extract the boss's corpse as his reward. Arise! A black shadow emerged from Kargalgan's corpse, filling the surrounding area, and Kargalgan was successfully extracted. The hunters were amazed by this ability, stunned to see Jinwoo summon the dungeon boss's corpse as his shadow warrior. Jinwoo named his new shadow warrior, "Now I'll call you Tusk." Then he thought that gaining power from a high orc was advantageous, but he had to manage his shadow storage by sending shadows beyond the limit to nothingness and keeping the rest. Extraction cancelled. As he turned around, Jinwoo was surprised to see Jinchul and Hunter Cha at the scene, having been so engrossed in the fight that he hadn't noticed their arrival. The hunters approached Jinwoo and asked him all sorts of questions. However, the surveillance team quickly stepped in to protect him. Jinchul said, "We came from the Association's Surveillance Division. The Association supervises Hunter Sung Jin-Woo, and this affair is a top-secret matter that can't be revealed to the public. Once we leave the dungeon, we will provide an adequate explanation, but please remain silent about the scene you've witnessed here. If you have any questions, you can contact the Association for more information." Abruptly, Ki-hoon requested their attention and said, "I won't ask why you volunteered as a porter. We were able to survive thanks to you. Let me thank you on behalf of our entire attack force." The hunters then bowed their heads as a gesture of sincere gratitude. Before leaving, Jinwoo returned the will that was entrusted to him earlier, as she had managed to survive and could deliver the will herself. After that he left escorted by the Hunter Association's surveillance team. Meanwhile, Hunter Cha, who had been looking for Jinwoo earlier, hesitated to call out to him since he was now leaving with an escort from the Hunter Association. Then one of the hunters noticed Hunter Cha carrying a pickaxe and inquired about it, causing her to feel a bit self-conscious. As the night fell, Jinwoo kept his promise to meet with Jinho. During their encounter, Jinho shared the outcome of his negotiations with his father. He had secured permission to become the guild master of Guild Yojin, but under one condition: Jinwoo had to join the guild. Jinho assured him that he would not pressure Jinwoo, respecting whatever decision he made. Jinwoo fell silent, deep in thought, contemplating Jinho's proposition. The scene shifts to the Hunters Guild headquarters. Ki-hoon made his way to Guild Master Choi to deliver a report. He recounted the events of the recent raid in detail. Taken aback and incensed by this revelation, Master Choi demanded to know Jinwoo's motives. Ki-hoon was unaware of Jinwoo's motives, but he was certain that it was not to disrupt the guild raid. Instead, Jinwoo intervened when he realized the strike team would be wiped out. Ki-hoon then explained further about Jinwoo's extraordinary abilities, which he had witnessed firsthand. Master Choi's mind raced as he processed the details of Jinwoo's abilities: summoning creatures, assassin-like agility, and even reanimating monsters to fight for him. These are the abilities we've seen so far, but if he has more hidden abilities, he is even stronger. Curiosity piqued. Master Choi asked Ki-hoon, if you compare Jin-Woo and me, who would come out on top? Ki-hoon pondered for a moment before replying. And then he said, each hunter has a specific role that complements the team and covers individual weaknesses. A successful raid team requires tanks, healers, mages, and fighters. Without all these roles, the team is vulnerable. However, Jin-Woo is an anomaly. He possesses the remarkable ability to conquer high-level dungeons alone. Master Choi's eyes widened in surprise at this revelation. He acknowledged that no matter how powerful he was, if he were swarmed by monsters, he would struggle to survive. His title of the ultimate soldier would pale in comparison to Jin-Woo's prowess. The day of Jin-Woo's rank re-evaluation had arrived. A crowd of reporters had gathered in front of the Hunter Association building, as Jin-Woo's re-evaluation coincided with that of a popular actor named Lee Min-sung. Shortly after, Guild Masters Baek Yun-ho and Choi Jong-in appeared together. The reporters immediately bombarded them with questions, inquiring if their presence was intended to recruit Hunter Lee Min-sung. Yun-ho clarified that he was not there to meet him, while Choi revealed that Lee Min-sung had already signed a contract with the Reaper Guild, and he was attending the association for other matters. Yun-ho shared with Choi a rumor he had heard about the near annihilation of the Hunters Guild members. Choi responded that their losses paled in comparison to those of the White Tiger Guild. However, they both acknowledged that without Jin-Woo's timely intervention, their reserve strike team members would have undoubtedly perished. Choi declared his determination to recruit Jin-Woo into his guild by any means necessary, driven by a sense of moral obligation. This statement sparked Yun-ho's disapproval, who believed that his guild, having suffered casualties, had a stronger claim to Jin-Woo. Amidst the squabble between the two guild masters, a voice interrupted their exchange. "Hey, you two, are you fighting over our Lee Min-sung?" It was Lim Tae-gyu, an S-ranked hunter and the guild master of the Reaper Guild. Hearing this statement, Yun-ho and Choi's frustration boiled over, leaving Tae-gyu with a look of total bewilderment that could rival a cartoon character. From inside his car, Min-sung grinned, confidently assuming that both guild masters were fighting over him. Min-sung stepped out of his car to be interviewed by reporters, and all cameras were now on him. Meanwhile, Jin-Woo had arrived at the Hunter Association building and was surprised by the large number of reporters gathered in front of the building. He walked into the building through the crowd of reporters. However, when he reached the front door, he was suddenly stopped by Min-sung's guards. The guards refused to let Jin-Woo pass and told him to leave. In his mind, Min-sung wondered who this man was, and then told his guards to get rid of him quickly. Suddenly someone said, "On whose authority are you trying to send him away? That man is our guest." It was Mr. Go Gun-hee, the president of the Korean Hunter Association, who had come out to personally escort Jin-Woo. Mr. Go advised Min-sung not to hold a press conference without permission, and then he invited Jin-Woo into the building. The reporters who saw this wondered who the man was and why Mr. Go came out to personally escort him inside. Meanwhile, Min-sung was furious because Jin-Woo was messing up his debut. Min-sung then told the reporters that he was going inside to discuss his schedule for the day with the association. However, the association's surveillance team quickly guarded the entrance. Jinchul said, "Another hunter is currently undergoing an evaluation. Until the evaluation is finished, no one else is allowed to enter the building." Min-sung tried to negotiate. "I'm Lee Min-sung. My father is the vice president of Yojin Architecture. He has donated a lot of money to the association and you should follow my orders. Are you sure you can handle the consequences of your actions?" Jinchul replied firmly, "Yes, I can." Hearing this, Min-sung became even more upset. "What do you mean? Are you saying that the hunter who just came in is better than me?" While taking off his glasses, Jinchul said, "If I answer your question, can Mr. Lee Min-sung handle the consequences?" Feeling Jinchul's intimidating aura, Min-sung was afraid and speechless. Inside the association building, Mr. Go leads Jin-Woo to the evaluation room, where they find Choi Jong-in and Baek Yun-ho waiting for them. An examiner arrives and asks Jin-Woo to demonstrate his abilities. Jin-Woo summons a single shadow warrior, which shocks the examiner and Mr. Go. However, Mr. Go was skeptical and asked if this was the full capacity of his abilities. Jin-Woo realizes that he can no longer lie, as there have been many witnesses to his abilities. He summons all of his warriors. "Come out, my shadows." The room pulsed with a surge of powerful magical energy as shadow warriors materialized from Jin-Woo's shadow. Jin-Woo declares that he can summon over 100 creatures, leaving everyone in the room stunned. Yun-ho is particularly shocked by the magical energy, realizing that it is far more powerful than when they first met. In short, Jin-Woo now has a new status as a Korean S-rank hunter, and at the same time, his ranking was instantly updated on the official website of the Korean Hunter Association. Meanwhile, outside the association building, Min-sung continued his press conference, addressing the reporters with a grand declaration of his intention to protect the public by becoming a hunter. However, his true motives were far from noble. He sought the title of hunter solely for the fame and fortune it would bring. As Min-sung continues to bask in the media spotlight, the reporters are suddenly interrupted by news of the 10th S-rank hunter that has just been announced by the Hunter Association. They realize that it's the same man who entered the building with Mr. Go earlier. The reporters immediately abandon Min-sung and rush to the front door of the building to await the S-rank hunter's emergence. Min-sung's carefully orchestrated debut crumbled before his eyes, like a poorly constructed sandcastle during a hurricane. Inside the association building, Yun-ho approaches Jin-Woo and asks for a moment of his time. However, Jin-Woo apologizes, claiming that he has urgent matters to attend to. As he hastily opened the door to make his escape, he was met with a swarm of reporters, their cameras flashing relentlessly. Jin-Woo's face became an instant sensation, his identity as the 10th S-rank hunter spreading like wildfire across the nation. The news of Jin-Woo's achievement reached Sung-hee, who was at school. She excitedly informed Jin-na that her brother was on television. The mining team also caught wind of the breaking news. The miner who had previously harassed Jin-Woo was struck with fear upon seeing the news of Jin-Woo's elevated status. He realized the grave mistake he had made in underestimating him and feared the consequences of his actions. Mr. Song also learned of Jin-Woo's newfound rank, his expression a mix of surprise and admiration. Meanwhile, Jin-ho, who was meeting with his father, also saw the news about Jin-Woo. His father inquired about Jin-ho's efforts to recruit him. Jin-ho explained that his attempts were unsuccessful, as Jin-Woo had expressed his intention to establish his own guild and had even offered him the position of vice guild master. Surprised by this revelation, Jin-ho's father then explained his motivation for forming a guild. He emphasized that his motivations were not driven by financial gain but rather by a desire to protect his family. As was widely known, the power and influence of hunters were steadily increasing. In some cases, hunters' power rivaled that of an entire nation, earning them the title of nation-level hunters. Gradually, government laws and authority began to lose their hold over hunters. Driven by this concern, Jin-ho's father sought to assemble a guild of trustworthy hunters, one that would be immune to the allure of money or personal gain. Despite failing to recruit Jin-Woo, his father recognized Jin-ho's worth and decided to bestow the Yuljin Guild upon him. However, Jin-ho surprisingly declined the guild he had long coveted, choosing instead to join Jin-Woo's guild. The scene returned to the entrance of the Hunters Association building, which was now a throng of reporters. A sea of microphones and cameras sprouted from the crowd, their lenses and sensors fixated on Jin-Woo, blocking his escape route. Yun-ho offered to help Jin-Woo out of this situation. Just as Yun-ho was about to intervene, Jin-Woo suddenly vanished from his side and in a flash was on the other side of the crowd. Jin-Woo said, "No need to worry, I'm fine." Everyone who saw it was stunned. Jin-Woo's movement had been so fast it blurred from their sight. Choi smirked and said to Yunho, "A mage-class hunter with that kind of movement. Are you okay, Mr. Baek Yunho?" Yunho remained speechless, his mind grappling to comprehend what he had just seen. He knew Jin-Woo was strong, but this was on another level entirely. The movements, the raw power, everything about Jin-Woo felt different from their first encounter. It was as if Jin-Woo possessed the uncanny ability to grow stronger with each passing moment. Yunho wondered, could this be the mark of a truly exceptional hunter? Following the re-evaluation, Jin-Woo prepares to venture back into the demon castle. He visits an auction house to sell his items and acquire artifacts to withstand the castle's intense heat. The salesperson escorts Jin-Woo to a private room filled with high-quality artifacts. Jin-Woo inquires about the safety of storing such valuable items behind seemingly fragile glass. The salesperson assures him that the glass is reinforced with strengthening magic, capable of withstanding even the most powerful blows from an A-rank hunter. As a challenge, the salesperson invites Jin-Woo to try breaking the glass, promising him the artifact inside if he succeeds. Intrigued, Jin-Woo gathers his magical energy in his fist, ready to strike. Noticing his intent, the salesperson quickly intervenes, explaining that it was merely a joke. Breaking the glass would attract powerful hunters from far and wide. Shortly after, another salesperson arrives to assist Jin-Woo in selecting daggers. After Jin-Woo's departure, the first salesperson is astonished to find a crack in the glass, even though Jin-Woo hadn't struck it. A thought that sends a shiver down his spine. The scene shifts to the White Tiger headquarters, where Yunho is deep in thought about Jin-Woo's mysterious power. He wonders if Jin-Woo could be a hunter with limitless potential. With such strength, Yunho believes Jin-Woo would be better off starting his own guild rather than joining theirs. And in the end, he realizes that his efforts to recruit Jin-Woo are doomed to fail. The next day, Jin-Woo's apartment was swarmed by reporters. Even manager On showed up, still not giving up on recruiting Jin-Woo. Meanwhile, Jinna was peeking out the window, and to her surprise, the reporters spotted her and immediately pointed their cameras at her. Jin-Woo wondered if he should go downstairs and tell the reporters to leave. But Jinna begged her brother not to, saying she was already being trashed online for ignoring the reporters yesterday. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. Jin-Woo was annoyed and was about to yell at the reporters for daring to knock on his apartment just to get news about him. But when Jin-Woo opened the door, it was Jinho. Jinho crying, saying that his father had kicked him out and asked to stay at Jin-Woo's place for a few days. Jin-Woo was speechless and immediately closed the door. At Jinho's house, Jinho's mother told her husband that he had been too harsh on Jinho, but his father said that Jinho deserved it because he had chosen to follow Jin-Woo instead of inheriting the Yojin Guild. However, Jinho's father suddenly felt dizzy and fainted. As night fell, Jin-Woo realized just how famous he'd become. He started to worry about his loved ones. Slipping into his little sister's room, he softly said, "Come out." In an instant, the shadows of General High-Orc materialized beside him. Jin-Woo was confused as to why there were only 3 shadows. One of the shadows made a gesture, and Jin-Woo chuckled while remembering that one was still stuck to the ceiling. He ordered one of the shadows to protect his sister, and the shadow warriors dutifully took up their positions. Jin-Woo headed to the roof of his apartment building, determined to safeguard his neighbors. Summoning several more shadow warriors, he gave them a clear mission. From now on, you guys are this neighborhood's watchmen. Be discreet, and don't let anyone spot you. The shadows dispersed silently, patrolling the area. As they melted into the night, Jin-Woo found himself hoping that his efforts would help create a more peaceful world. The following day, Jin-Woo returned to the demon castle, determined to clear the quest from the system. With careful preparation, He was now equipped with fire-resistant gear. Not long after, a message from the system popped up in his mind. Normal quest, collect demon souls part 2. Baron, the monarch of the demons, resides on the highest floor of the demon castle. Eliminate Baron and collect its soul. The rewards for completing this quest are highest quality runestones, a stat bonus of plus 30 and hidden rewards. Jin-Woo thought the rewards this time were really exciting, especially since he would get runestones, which would grant him a job-specific skill. So far, he has obtained 3 job-specific skills: Shadow Extraction, Save Shadow, and Domain of the Monarch. The thought of what he could earn this time made him feel very enthusiastic. Jin-Woo headed to the magic circle to go straight to the 76th floor. As soon as he arrived, he was confronted by a horde of demons ready to take him down. He summoned Tusk to fight and gave him a magic orb to boost his spell power. Tusk cast his spell, Hymn of the Fire Dragon, unleashing a massive fire blast that obliterated the high-level demons. The impact even destroyed part of the area. Jin-Woo was impressed by the power, and thanks to the demon wipeout, his status leveled up. As his level increased, the capacity of his Shadow Warrior grew as well. However, he was a bit disappointed that he couldn't extract the demon corpses, which would have given him more warriors. He realized that moving with a large group of warriors was inefficient, so he split them into separate teams for better efficiency. Tusk led a group of orcs. Igris and Iron commanded the Knight Squad. Tank headed the Bear Monster troops, and 2 High Orc generals took charge of the remaining orc forces. And he commanded his warriors. First, you should spread out by team and defeat all the enemies you encounter. Second, if you find an entry permit, you should report it to me immediately. Disperse, and instantly the 6 teams scattered across the floor. Jin-Woo knew that by doing this he would have to forget the drops from every monster he defeated, and focus on obtaining the entry permit to move to the next floor as quickly as possible. The Shadow Warriors continued to scour the floor, eliminating all enemies. System notifications popped up, showing that Jin-Woo was gaining a lot of experience points. Jin-Woo used a potion to restore his mana so he could keep regenerating his shadows continuously. The scene shifts to the emergency center. After being asleep for 2 days, Gino's father finally wakes up and asks the doctor about his condition. The doctor explained that he might be suffering from eternal slumber, a disease that causes the sufferer to lose consciousness until it depletes their life force permanently. This condition is brought on by prolonged exposure to mana radiation. Hearing this, Gino's father contemplates his fate. He realizes that he's been left behind by the changing times and might struggle to survive in this chaotic world. However, he hasn't given up easily. He tells himself that he's not beaten yet. Meanwhile, on a small island in Japan, a monstrous ant has crossed the ocean and made its way onto the island. The ant then flies towards the city, hunting down the terrified inhabitants. Back at the demon castle, after spending several days deep in the dungeon, Jin-Woo was surprised to find his Shadow Warriors had leveled up significantly. Dividing them into smaller groups had accelerated their leveling process beyond his expectations. Jin-Woo had already reached the 80th floor, but after 2 days of exploring he still hadn't found the entry permit. Suddenly, his mana started draining rapidly. He realized that a powerful enemy was systematically defeating his shadow troops. From a distance, he saw a massive explosion, and his mana was quickly depleted again. With no other options, Jin-Woo ordered his Shadow Warriors to retreat. The same thing happened the next day. Both General High Orc's team and Igris's team had been defeated. As he suspected, there was a powerful demon lurking on this floor. Jin-Woo began analyzing the enemy's movements and realized they were targeting his weaker Shadow Warriors. After careful observation, Jin-Woo predicted that the tank team would be the next target of the enemy. Jin-Woo followed the tank team, keeping a close eye on them from a distance while staying hidden with his stealth skills. It didn't take long before a group of demons appeared, and now Tank and his team were facing off against a squad of demon knights. Tank launched an attack, but the demon quickly overpowered him with its weapon, easily defeating Tank and the other shadow soldiers. Jin-Woo realized that his shadow soldiers were no match for the demon knights, so he stepped out of hiding, ready to face the demon in front of him. The demon immediately lunged at Jin-Woo with its spear, but Jin-Woo effortlessly dodged the attack and delivered a powerful kick to the demon's head, knocking it down. Another demon quickly moved to attack Jin-Woo, but with incredible speed, Jin-Woo was suddenly among them, slashing them repeatedly with his dagger and defeating them in an instant. He kept moving to aim at the demon knight leader, making the demon knight leader tremble in fear. Jin-Woo said, "I was wondering if monsters could also experience fear, but now I'm certain." The demon knight leader unleashed a flurry of sword strikes, but Jin-Woo easily dodged every single one. Jin-Woo noticed that the demons on this floor were unusually intelligent, targeting his forehead, neck, and heart with precision. He counterattacked, shattering the demon knight leader's sword. Just as he was about to deliver the final blow, the demon suddenly pleaded for mercy and surrendered. Jin-Woo was startled and stopped his attack, surprised that this demon could speak human language, especially since the voice sounded like a girl's. Curious, he removed the helmet, and sure enough, the demon was a girl. She apologized and begged for forgiveness. With a puzzled expression, Jin-Woo replied, "You attacked my soldiers, and now you're asking for mercy?" The demon girl explained that she had to protect this area and couldn't just stand by while her fellow demons were slaughtered like ants. In his mind, Jin-Woo was baffled by this selfish demon girl. Moreover, he didn't particularly enjoy killing demons that looked like human. However, when Jin-Woo lets his guard down, the demon girl secretly tries to attack him from behind. But her attack was blocked by Tusk's protective magic. Jin-Woo spun around and demanded, "What do you think you're doing?" Realizing her attack failed, the demon girl broke out in a cold sweat. She immediately fell to her knees, begging for forgiveness and promising to give Jin-Woo anything he wanted. Jin-Woo told her he needed an entry permit. The demon girl revealed that her clan was protecting the entry permit. She also knew the location of all the entry permits on every floor of the demon castle. She promised to tell Jin-Woo everything as long as her safety and that of her clan were guaranteed. Jin-Woo thought it was an interesting offer, but he was unsure if he could trust this demon. He stepped closer and stared into her eyes, making her blush. He said, "Can I trust you?" Suddenly, Bloodlust skill activated, and he unleashed a murderous intent that intimidated the demon girl. Overwhelmed by the murderous intent, the demon girl saw an endless darkness before her. She trembled in fear and broke out in a cold sweat. She assured Jin-Woo that she wouldn't lie and would tell him the truth. Jin-Woo spared her and promised to leave this place if she gave him the entry permit. But first, he wanted to know about the true identity of the demons. The demon girl introduced herself as Lady Essel, the eldest daughter of the Redeer clan. Jin-Woo replied that this wasn't what he meant. He wanted to know if she constantly heard a voice in her head telling her to kill humans. Essel said she didn't hear it, but she did hear a voice telling her to protect the area where she lived. She used to live in the demon world, but before she knew it, she found herself in this place and heard that command. Jin-Woo was shocked by this information, realizing it might be a clue to understanding the nature of his system. He then asked, "What were you doing in the demon world?" Essel answered, "War. We were preparing for war, a war against a powerful enemy that required all demons to unite and fight." Suddenly, the system started messing with Essel's head. "You have surpassed the allowed amount of information. The conversation will be interrupted." Essel suddenly felt dizzy, unable to bear the pain, and fainted. Jin-Woo realized the system's interference became much stronger when Essel tried to reveal the identity of the enemy, and for some reason, the system was also trying to influence him in the human world. He thought that the enemy the demons were facing might be the key to all of this. Meanwhile, on a small island in Japan, the city lies in ruins after a devastating attack by mutant ants. A team of hunters from off the island has arrived to combat the threat. However, these monsters prove to be no ordinary foe, as they've demonstrated a surprising level of intelligence by targeting the support hunters first. This news quickly spread across the nation, even reaching South Korea, where officials were holding a meeting to discuss the issue. According to confirmed reports, the entire island's population was massacred by the ant colony within a single day. A staggering 294 civilians lost their lives before the threat was finally neutralized by a team of A-rank hunters. Members of the association were stunned to learn that Japan, renowned for its advanced hunter system in Asia, had suffered such a devastating loss. They couldn't imagine the potential consequences if these monsters were to invade South Korea. Mr. Go revealed that the island attacked by the mutant ants is located just 150 kilometers from Jeju Island, meaning they could strike any of Korea's islands at any time. Unfortunately, South Korea doesn't have the same level of manpower as Japan, and dispatching hunters to every island would be impossible. Even if they sent 1 or 2 low-rank hunters, they'd likely end up as ant food. The meeting concluded without a definitive solution. After the meeting, Mr. Go fell into deep thought, pondering who could help Korea in this dire situation. Jinchul approached him with news that Hunter Wang Dongsu had contacted the association in secret, offering his assistance in a raid on Jeju Island, but with a condition. In addition, a nation-level hunter was trying to contact the association, leaving Mr. Go surprised by this information. Back at the demon castle, Essel stirred from her unconscious state. Her eyes flew open, and she gasped at the pile of defeated monsters. Jin-Woo said, "It seems like demons aren't very friendly with each other. These guys tried to attack you while you were asleep." Essel kneels and thanks Jin-Woo for protecting her. Then, she guides Jin-Woo to the demon castle of the Redir clan's residence. After entering the castle, Essel immediately goes to her father and tells him she has brought a guest. The king was shocked when he saw Jin-Woo. Just what kind of guest comes to someone else's home with an army? Essel, can't you see it with your eyes? There are countless soldiers hidden in that man's shadow. Guards immediately surrounded Jin-Woo. However, Jin-Woo remains calm and says he promised Essel he would leave after getting the entry permit. The king thought to himself, is he the guy who's been killing demons like crazy and climbing the tower? I heard he beat Vulcan and Metis. I'm not sure I can beat him. The king asked Jin-Woo if he wanted just the entry permit. Jin-Woo, with his arm around Essel, requested to borrow her for a bit, making her blush. But in his mind, Jin-Woo realized he needed Essel to guide him to the entry permit on each floor. Following this, the king hosted Jin-Woo in the royal dining hall. Swallowing his pride at having to yield to a human's demands, the Demon King realized he had no choice but to comply rather than fight him. The king impatiently calls his servant to bring the entry permit and hands it to Jin-Woo, allowing him to ascend to the 81st floor. Quickly, Jin-Woo asked Essel to guide him to the next floor. Jin-Woo and Essel had reached the 81st floor, the floor controlled by the Garshi clan. Essel took out a bottle of wine to use as a negotiation tool with the Garshi clan leader. However, Jin-Woo rejected the idea, saying that he would do it his way. He then told Essel to wait outside the castle, as he would go in alone to destroy the Garshi clan and all the monsters within. The scene shifts to the Korean Hunters Association building. A nation-level hunter from America has arrived. He inquires about hunter Sung Jin-Woo. Jinchul replies that the association is also unaware of Sung Jin-Woo's whereabouts due to difficulties in tracking him. The hunter then reveals the reason for his visit. He requests that the Korean Hunters Association ban Wang Dongsu from entering this country. However, since the association has already taken this action, the conversation concludes quickly. Before leaving, the hunter smirks and mentions that he would have liked to assist with the raid on Jeju Island but is currently occupied. However, he hints that this could change if Korea had enough money to hire him. After the nation-level hunter's departure, Mr. Go told Jinchul that expecting help from him for the raid on Jeju Island seemed like a delusion. Jinchul reassured the chairman not to worry, as Japan had already confirmed their cooperation in the upcoming raid. Meanwhile, in the Demon Castle, Jin-Woo rapidly ascended floor by floor, slaughtering every demon clan guarding each level. Jin-Woo's level surged to 87, while Igris and Tank hit the maximum level. A system notification popped up. A promotion is available due to reaching the required level. The Shadows will be promoted if the Monarch grants permission. Do you accept their requests? Jin-Woo approved. Instantly, an incredibly powerful black aura enveloped Igris and Tank, its force even piercing the sky. Both Shadow Warriors were promoted, each earning a new rank. Igris from rank Knight to Elite Knight, Tank from rank Elite to rank Knight. Igris's aura evolved to match an S-rank Hunter, while Tank's power evolution reached the level of a high-end A-rank Hunter. Before venturing further to the 90th floor, Essel warned Jin-Woo that they would soon encounter noble demon clans of the highest rank, far more formidable than the demons on the previous levels. She suggested they try negotiating, as they had with the Redir clan, instead of immediately engaging in combat to obtain the entry permit. However, Jin-Woo assured Essel not to worry, as he was determined to conquer the Demon Castle and elevate the Redir clan to the top ranks. Afterward, they both ascended to the next floor. Just as Essel had predicted, the monsters on the 90th floor and above were tougher and more numerous. Despite this, Jin-Woo kept climbing, until he reached the 97th floor and his status had reached level 90. Jin-Woo told Essel to return to her floor, as he would handle the rest on his own. But Essel insisted on staying. She wanted to witness the final outcome of this battle. Understanding her resolve, Jin-Woo allowed her to do as she wished. Together, they walked toward the magic circle to teleport to the 98th floor. Meanwhile, at Incheon International Airport, two hunters have just arrived in South Korea. One of them is Goto Ryuji, an S-rank hunter from Japan, accompanied by his translator. Soon, Korean Hunter Association officials came to escort them to the association's headquarters. A meeting was promptly arranged with Mr. Go. As Ryuji senses the intense power, he realizes that Mr. Go is the only hunter in Asia who could rival Liu Zhigang, an S-rank hunter from China. Likewise, Mr. Go recognized Ryuji as an extraordinary individual, given that 11 out of Japan's 21 S-rank hunters were members of Goto Ryuji's guild, Draw Sword. This made Draw Sword the largest guild in Asia after China's. Hanakawa, the Japanese translator, introduces herself and relays Goto Ryuji's message. Ryuji explains that their visit to Korea is to offer assistance. He proposes forming a joint team of top hunters from Korea and Japan to attack the ant colony on Jeju Island. Hanakawa then handed over the ant investigation data collected by Japan. Ryuji explained that while each ant was as strong as a top-rank hunter, they had a fatal weakness, a lifespan of only 1 year. In other words, if the ant queen died, all the ants would perish within a year, and Jeju Island would be freed from the colony. Mr. Go acknowledged that the plan sounded realistic but pointed out that killing the ant queen would mean battling thousands of protective soldier ants. Ryuji outlined his strategy with precision. 10 of Japan's 11 S-rank hunters would serve as bait, drawing out the swarm of ants from their nest on Jeju Island. Meanwhile, South Korean hunters would sneak in using helicopters, targeting the ant queen. Once they succeeded in killing the queen, they would immediately evacuate. The room buzzed with astonishment at Japan's bold offer. Mr. Go wondered why Ryuji was willing to help South Korea to such an extent, even sending 10 S-rank hunters. Although the strategy had potential, Mr. Go doubted if the Korean hunters could defeat the queen. He believed that if hunter Sung Jin-Woo joined, their chances would be significantly higher. Moreover, the association couldn't delay any longer before the ants evolved and invaded South Korea. The meeting concluded with Mr. Go stating that the association would decide after reviewing the data and creating a concrete operational plan. In Ryuji's mind, this was merely a strategic move to achieve his ambition. By aiding South Korea in the Jeju Island raid, he saw a golden opportunity to elevate his status and become a nation-level hunter. The scene shifted to the Demon Castle. Jin-Woo and Essel had finally reached the 100th floor, a place known as a living nightmare. The floor was enveloped in extreme cold and absolute darkness, so thick that not even a sliver of natural light could penetrate. A moment later, a fearsome wyvern soared into view, its wings slicing through the frigid air. As it landed, a terrifying figure emerged, standing atop the beast. This was Demon King Baron, the final boss of the Demon Castle. Jin-Woo sensed an unnatural surge of power from the figure, a doubt creeping into his mind about his chances of victory. Overwhelmed by fear, Essel's eyes widened as the Demon King's imposing presence filled her vision. Jin-Woo noticed the Demon King's wyvern wasn't a demon. He thought he might be able to extract its shadow. The Demon King took to the skies on his wyvern, raising his sword and activating his skill, Hell's Army. Instantly, dozens of magic portals appeared from the ground, and from these portals emerged thousands of high-ranked demon troops surrounding them. In unison, the demon army charges. Essel panicked and asked what they should do now. But Jin-Woo says not yet. As the demon horde closes in, Jin-Woo suddenly activates his skill, Domain of the Monarch, creating a shadow domain that spanned a vast area. The moment the demons step inside, Jin-Woo shouted, "Come out!" In an instant, shadow warriors burst from the ground, their weapons cutting through the advancing demons and felling them with lethal precision. The shadow generals charged into the fray. Eagers slashed through the demons with precise strikes, while Iron and Tank met any who dared approach with brutal force, their relentless assault leaving a trail of destruction. Tusk unleashed explosive magic, tearing through the enemy ranks before they could reach his master. Essel watched the fierce battle in awe, torn between supporting Demon King Baron, the ruler, or Jin-Woo, the invader. Meanwhile, Baron grins at the fight unfolding before him. He released lightning breath from his mouth and sent it into the sky, instantly darkening the heavens as a raging storm crackles with lightning and strikes in all directions. Jin-Woo quickly protected Essel from the lightning strikes. He realized this wasn't ordinary lightning. If he doesn't stop this lightning magic, his shadow will be destroyed and his mana will be drained. Jin-Woo leaps onto nearby structures and launches himself into the air, aiming for the wyvern's wings. However, Baron intercepted the attack, swinging his sword and knocking him to the ground. Not stopping there, Baron unleashed another lightning breath. Jin-Woo, who noticed this attack, quickly got up and dodged, but the attack continued to follow him. In a desperate moment, Tusk aids Jin-Woo from afar, launching a fiery blast that collides with the lightning. The powerful blaze overpowers the lightning attack, allowing the flames to consume Baron and his wyvern, sending him crashing to the ground. Seeing this, Jin-Woo thought he was lucky, as his choice to give the magic orb to Tusk was the right call. Jin-Woo quips, "You've finally come down. I was getting pretty tired of looking up." Emerging from the thick smoke, Baron steps forward, his terrifying aura pulsing with dark energy, his eyes glowing like embers. Without hesitation, he unleashes another lightning breath, scorching the air around him. However, Tusk quickly blocked the attack with Hymn of Protection. Jin-Woo was frustrated because Baron kept launching attacks at him and didn't give him time to recover his mana. He knows he must end this fight quickly before his mana is completely depleted. Iron attacked Baron with his axe, but Baron easily shattered the axe with one blow and impaled Iron with his sword, making him vanish instantly. Egress leapt into the air and delivered a quick slash. However, Baron stops the attack with his bare hand and quickly unleashes lightning breath, disintegrating Egress on the spot. Seizing the opportunity, Jin-Woo attacked Baron from the side, activating Vital Strike. However, Baron managed to deflect the attack with his sword. With a quick reaction, Baron grabbed Jin-Woo's head, lifted him into the air, and prepared to deliver the finishing slash with his sword. But just in time, Jin-Woo summoned Iron and Igris and stopped the slash. Taking advantage of Baron's distraction, Jin-Woo stabs his left arm with daggers, while Igris impales his right arm, making him unable to move. However, Baron unleashed a wave of lightning magic, creating a devastating explosion that obliterated Igris and Iron and sent Jin-Woo flying backward. Tension crackles in the air as Jin-Woo and Baron brandish their daggers, and the final showdown begins. They charge at each other with blinding speed, exchanging fierce blows. But amid the clash, Baron suddenly releases a point-blank lightning breath. Jin-Woo swiftly deflects the attack, but the force knocks the daggers out of his hands. Seizing the opportunity, Baron lunged forward with his dagger, but with quick reflexes Jin-Woo grabbed Baron's arm and pinned him in place. However, Baron's maw gaped open, poised for the killing blow. Knowing he was cornered, Jin-Woo resigned himself to his fate. Suddenly, a minor distraction struck Baron on the head. It was Essel, throwing her weapon in a desperate attempt to help. Seeing the Demon King distracted, Jin-Woo seizes the opportunity. He activates Dominator's Touch, gripping Baron's arm with all his strength and twisting it until it snaps. In his final moments, he delivers a crushing blow to Baron's jaw. The impact generates a powerful shockwave that sends the Demon King's head flying from his body. A system notification pops up. You defeated Demon King Baron. You obtained Baron's soul. Suddenly Jin-Woo collapsed on the ground, exhausted after the intense battle. Essel rushed over, worried about his condition, but Jin-Woo just smiled and said, "Essel, tell your father the Redir clan has claimed first place." Upon hearing those words, Essel's eyes welled up with tears. Moments later, sunlight began to break through the dark sky, and Jin-Woo gathered his rewards. First, he obtained the Demon Monarch's Ring, a powerful artifact that boosted his intelligence and sense by a whopping 20 points. This ring was the final piece to unlock the Demon Monarch's full potential. Next, he received the Demon King's long sword, a blade radiating deadly lightning energy. Each swing unleashed a powerful lightning magic attack, and to top it off, he found the Demon King's dagger, increasing his attack power by a massive 220 points. But the most coveted item was the purified blood of the Demon King, a rare magical ingredient needed to create the holy water of life, a potion capable of miraculous healing. Without delay, Jin-Woo began crafting the potion. A system notification appeared, warning him that the success rate and quantity of potions depended on his intelligence stat. A cold sweat broke out as he realized he should have focused on boosting his intelligence earlier. But when the countdown ended, the system announced his success. He had crafted 6 bottles of holy water of life. Thrilled with the result, he hoped this potion would cure his mother. He couldn't wait to return to the hospital. Soon, Iron came dragging Wyvern's corpse to present to his master. Jin-Woo smiled proudly and praised Iron, noting how much smarter he had become. He uttered one word, "Arise." A black shadow emerged from the Wyvern's corpse, transforming into a colossal wyvern. A system notification appeared. Shadow successfully extracted. Please choose a name for your soldier. Jin-Woo named it Kaizel, and Kaizel roared in celebration of its rebirth. Essel suggested they ride the wyvern back to the clan, but Jin-Woo had other plans. He wanted to reach the hospital as soon as possible. Suddenly, a quest completion notification popped up. Jin-Woo was rewarded with a significant stat boost, a prestigious title, and the ultimate runestone, Shadow Exchange. Jin-Woo activated the runestone, instantly learning the Shadow Exchange skill, which allowed him to swap places with any chosen shadow. And with this skill, he thought he could reach the hospital as soon as possible. But before leaving, he apologizes to Essel for not being able to accompany her to her clan. Slowly, Dark shadows began to envelop Jin-Woo's body as he activated Shadow Exchange. In an instant, Jin-Woo vanished, replaced by one of his shadow warriors, leaving Essel confused and sighing. Meanwhile, Jin-Woo reappeared near his home, having swapped places with one of his shadow. He summoned Kaizul and quickly flew to the hospital. At the Korean Hunter Association office, Jinchul and Mr. Go were discussing the upcoming raid on Jeju Island. Mr. Go expressed concern that the ants might return to their nest sooner than expected, but Jinchul reassured him that Gotoryuji's jamming signal would disrupt the ants' communication. In the middle of their conversation, Mr. Go suddenly felt a massive surge of magical energy, shocking him to his core. In another place, Yunho also sensed the sudden surge of incredible energy ripples through the air. Someone mentioned that the power might be coming from Hunter Choi and Hunter Cha, who were arguing over their shares in the guild. The comment came from Min Byung-gu, an S-rank healer. After that brief interruption, the two resumed their discussion about the upcoming raid on Jeju Island. Unbeknownst to them, the mysterious energy they sensed was actually coming from Jin-Woo and Kaizul, who were soaring high above the sparkling night skyline of the city. Meanwhile, Jin-Woo had reached the hospital and quietly slipped into his mother's room through the window. He stared at his mom, momentarily doubting the effectiveness of the holy water of life. But this elixir was the only hope to cure his mom from eternal slumber. Gently, Jin-Woo poured the potion into his mother's mouth as she remained unconscious. Slowly, his mother's face began to regain color, though she still hadn't opened her eyes. Jin-Woo was stunned to see that she no longer looked pale. In his mind he kept repeating, "Mom, you're the reason I want to become stronger. So please open your eyes. Let me carry the burden you've held onto for so long." And then a miracle happened. His mother slowly opened her eyes and greeted Jin-Woo, who was sitting beside her. Jin-Woo was so shocked that his hands trembled. His mother took his hand and thanked him for keeping his promise. She knew that ever since she had fallen ill, Jin-Woo must have lived a hard life. Hearing her words, Jin-Woo couldn't hold back his emotions, and tears began to fall. In the morning, Jin-Ah rushed to the hospital after hearing the news about her mom. The quiet room was suddenly filled with warmth as Jin-Ah wept with emotion upon seeing her mother awaken. She trembled as she hugged her mother tightly. Jin-Woo stood in awe as he witnessed this precious moment. All his efforts had finally paid off. This was the greatest gift he could ever receive. But a pang of unease settled in. Since becoming a hunter, he had distanced himself from those he loved, and now loneliness began to creep into his heart. Taking a moment to rest in the park, Jin-Woo checked his phone, which was overflowing with missed calls. He saw a news report about a dragon flying over Korea. He realized it must have been him and Kaizul. Suddenly, Jin-Woo received a call from Mr. Go, who sounded worried. Mr. Go offered to come see him right away, but Jin-Woo declined, saying he would head to the association office soon to visit him. So, what ominous events will unfold? That concludes this episode. Thank you for watching. Peace.